Welcome to If This Bar Could Talk, a podcast about bartenders and the stories they have to tell, as well as the storied history of cocktails, spirits, and bars. I'm Blair Beavers, and here's your host, Leanne Sims.
And our guest tonight is Jesse Hubbard from the Great Southern Whiskey Bar at the Great Southern Hotel, which is a Weston property in Columbus, Ohio. Welcome, Jesse. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
Hello.
We appreciate it. You're pretty much new to the Great Southern Whiskey Bar. When did you start?
I've been there about, 6 or 7 months now. I started in July, whatever that makes it.
And
seven months.
You came here from my hometown, Louisville, Kentucky. Whoop, whoop.
I did, yeah. Absolutely.
What brought you here?
Well, it was actually family reasons. My wife and I came here because she's from Michigan, and my family have settled in southern Ohio, about an hour and a half from here. So this puts us more centrally located. And, as we talk about having a family ourselves in the future, we want to be closer to everybody. And that was, in and of itself, kind of a scary thing to get out of your comfort zone. We lived in Louisville for about 5 years, and I worked really hard to try to establish myself as somebody in the industry there. And I like to think I did a fairly good job of that. And you know everybody, and you really forge some solid friendships. Mm-hmm. And to get up and decide to move away from all of that is definitely outside of the comfort zone, in a sense, to kind of start all over again. And I've really enjoyed being here. I've enjoyed the challenge of that, and so far I love this city.
Well, welcome to Columbus. We're very happy that you're here because
you
are a skilled bartender, and we always appreciate one more skilled bartender in our great town. So where were you? What did you do in Louisville?
So I worked for a couple different places there, most recently a brewery called Monica Beer Company. So they're in the Germantown area of Louisville, and probably about 2 or 3 years old, about 3 years old now maybe. So I was the bar manager there. And aside from the beer, there was a big emphasis on craft cocktails as well. And that really appealed to me. I had met their owner from my prior job as the beer buyer at a place. And when their opening became available, they reached out to me, and it was a perfect fit. And I really loved it there. I loved the people there. It was bittersweet to leave, especially, not just leaving the job, but, like I said, to a new city and state. But it was amazing. I really met a lot of great people in that area.
So is it really different now that you're working for a hotel, basically?
It's very different. I've never worked for a hotel before. Honestly, I haven't had too much experience working for a large corporation before. A lot of the places that I've worked in my career have either been like individually private owned, or maybe a small local chain of 3 or 4, something like that. So it is different in the sense that to make something happen, I can't just do it, mm-hmm. right? I can't just decide to change this on the menu. I can't just decide to change the decor, things like that. And I do have a lot of creative freedom there, but I have to go through the proper chain and to approve it because of brand standards and things of that nature. Before I could just go directly to the owner and say, hey, let's do this. Mm-hmm. Yay or nay.
So let's say you have a cocktail in mind. You've been thinking, we've learned from our podcast that bartenders they're lying in bed at night thinking of different cocktails.
Yeah.
So when you think of a cocktail, you have it you go to work and what do you have to explain the cocktail, or what do you got to do to get it approved to go on the menu? No,
it's more along the lines of the menu has to meet certain brand standards. It has to have so many cocktails that fit a certain description that they have, and it has to have non-alcoholic cocktails, or at least we have to have placement somewhere in there. So I do have the freedom to change the cocktail menu, and we're going to be changing it for the spring, and I'm excited about that. But I have to get approval far in advance because it has to line up with the executive chef and and everything of that nature. So it's a little bit more involved, but I absolutely love it there because along with a little bit of the hoops that you have to jump through, become a lot of the pros to the job, in that there's a great group of people there that are all in it for the right reasons. We've got people that have been there for 5-10 years, and they really love it and they're invested. And so it's kind of rare, I guess, for somebody like myself to come on and join that group, because it seems like everybody's been there for so long, with a couple of rare exceptions, but at least in the food and beverage department. And there's so many great meetings that we all participated in, from the general manager of the hotel to sales to myself, and we really come away with some great ideas. I'm fairly involved with the social media there, and even though it's a large company, I really feel that my voice is heard and that it carries a little bit of weight and people value my opinion. So that means a lot. It almost means more because it is such a big company.
Right. That's nice. I like to hear that. I mean, you're on our cocktail tour, and we like to hear that the places that are on our tour, they treat their employees well. Otherwise, we wouldn't want them on our tour.
Yeah, it's been an absolutely great experience. I really feel fortunate that I landed there, because coming to a city where I didn't know any bar from the next, and navigating online where to go, and doing interviews, I'm like, this is not the place for me. And as soon as I came in there, I just felt like that's where I want to be at this hotel and this bar, and this is really cool. And they had just started changing over to the whiskey bar concept, and probably before that, and like it was meant to be, right? Coming from Louisville to a whiskey bar in Columbus, it made it a lot easier, because it certainly filled some of my passions working at a place like that. So, and it's cool to see it evolve, and I'm excited to where we can take it.
Well, Jesse, if I could give you any advice for the renovations of the bar, I'm very disappointed, I have to say. And I did express this to Jason and John, the managers there. I loved all of the James Thurber's lithographs that were on the walls, because James Thurber's mother lived there and his brother, and he visited often. And they removed those and put up 4 TVs. Like, who needs 4 TVs? Come on. They brightened it up and added TVs. That kind of kills me for a whiskey bar. So I wish they would tone it. Is that a brand standard
That
thing?
was
okay. So
something that they kind of decided on before I started. But I have good news for you. Next time you'll come back, you'll be excited to find that all of the paintings and drawings are back up.
yay!
Oh, that's awesome.
So we do have the TVs though, but we're working on. I envision almost like a cigar lounge kind of vibe. So we're going to be refurbishing a lot of the interior, and the paintings was the first step. Why can't you still have the paintings up just because it's a whiskey bar?
Exactly.
Don't ignore the history. That's something that not necessarily anybody else has.
And it's like our story. It's the story that we tell when we go there, when we take our guests there, and when there are no more.
Because the Great Southern has so much history.
Yeah, and I thought that was a big fail, but I'm glad to
They're
hear
all
that's
back
coming
up.
back.
Yeah.
You know what it reminded me of? So since you're from Louisville, I know you've been to the Sealback Bar.
Oh yeah, I love that place.
And remember how it was, though, before the renovation and after the renovation. I mean, the renovations horrified me. Like, it didn't feel like the old school whiskey bar that it used to be.
It feels like a different bar from the rest of the hotel.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah, so I feel like they made that same mistake when they did the renovations there, but hopefully they'll correct.
I think sometimes people just want to do something different, right?
Yeah.
And just for the sake of doing something different. Rebrand. This new idea we're doing will change what's on the walls. And then everybody enjoyed that. That's what made you unique. That's what made you stand out.
Exactly.
So I didn't know anything other than the TVs and kind of blank walls. So we started talking about that. Like, I think that's really cool. Learning about that and the history. And we picked a bunch of really fun ones, and we have them back up. And some of them, we found any of them that we could that really kind of directly relate to drinking or bars. And there may be a few like that. So
perfect.
Yeah.
And it's haunted there.
I know.
Do you know the story? Because I do.
I know a few different stories. I was there for one of the ghost tours on Halloween. I learned some stories, but let's hear what you have.
So Ophelia was
Ophelia.
Nice.
Personally?
Maybe, I don't know.
was a nice German girl here in Columbus, and back then they still had arranged marriages, and so her parents had arranged for her to marry a nice German boy, but she fell in love with an Italian boy. And when her dad found out about it, he went to the Italian boy and paid him to leave town. So he took the money and he left town. And Ophelia found out, of course, was crushed. But her mother convinced her to go through with the marriage. And so she did. But when she was on the balcony at her reception to throw the bouquet off the balcony, she instead threw herself off the balcony to her death.
So I've heard different versions of the same story. Was it an accident or was it intentional?
It was intentional.
Okay, yeah.
She was so distraught. But I've heard differing stories that the Italian guy didn't actually take the money. Her dad just told her that. I think he took the money and ran. Yeah. A little bastard.
Well, I mean, I have not seen too much there, but I've seen a couple little things that are weird. Here's the interesting thing to me. This hotel was from 1897.
Yeah.
This is only the third oldest place that I've worked. I've worked in a couple different places that were built in the 1860s.
Oh, wow.
So I've worked at a few different places, and I've heard my fair share of stories, and I've seen my fair share of things. So
what's the weirdest thing?
The weirdest thing anywhere? Well, I'll tell you, we'll start with where I'm at now, at the whiskey bar. This is all on the same night. This is really interesting, right around Halloween. So you guys know the little lamps that we have in the bar with the glass bulbs, or the glass encasings, rather. So we're sitting there, it's a relatively slow night. We had a group in, maybe like 10 people or whatever, and I'm working the bar. Nobody's standing next to one at the far end of the bar. All of a sudden, it didn't just fall. It kind of went and dropped. So it went like a foot to the right and dropped in the air. It was the weirdest thing that I've seen there. The woman who was sitting probably 3 bar stools away from it was terrified. And we're just kind of like, did it really happen? Did anybody, what was that exactly? And we all kind of conferred that it really did just move a foot to the right in the air, and it dropped and it shattered everywhere. And those things are on there good too. They're not loose. You cannot really move them. So that was really interesting. And that prompted a couple different ladies that were at one of the tables in the bar to come over and start telling me some of the stuff that happened to them in the last couple of days. They were in town from, I think, New York it was. And there's another story about what happened on the 7th floor, or the DJ.
The DJ, yeah.
The DJ that was killed under really weird circumstances, is what I understand. So these women were staying on the 6th floor, didn't know anything about the place being haunted. This was like 2 days before Halloween, mind you. And we all just witnessed that happen. And they came up and they asked me, is this place haunted? And I said, well, because you don't want to say absolutely. You don't know, you're sleeping there at night. It's like, well, I don't know. And they said, well, let me tell you what happened to me. Woman says, I woke up in the middle of the night and somebody was whispering in my ear, and I'm staying alone in my room.
Yikes.
I said, what floor are you staying on? She says, the 6th floor. Oh. The woman next to her, she said, I heard people like moving around all night long, like running and jumping on the floor above me. I don't know what was going on. I said, what floor were you on? She said, the 6th floor. There is nothing on the 7th floor. It's only storage. And they never, ever go in there. It was a dance hall many, many, many years ago. Oh. And there's also the man who was killed. It was either in the stairwell between the 6th floor and the 7th floor, or it was on the 7th floor. But I just kind of left it at that. And I'm like, well, I don't know. It could have been just the guys up there moving stuff around or whatever. Yeah. They started doing a bunch of research on their phones, put 2 and 2 together, and then they, would not stop asking me questions that I didn't know all the answers to. But there was something going on for that span of days. I don't know what had to do with the energy in the hotel. Wow. I don't even know if I believe in that kind of stuff, but it's hard to dismiss it whenever you see stuff like that and you hear stories like that.
Sure.
Wow. It's probably because the Columbus Craft Cocktail Tour brought the Haunted Scavenger Hunt Tour there. So they're like,
there it is.
Those are my people.
But that's not even the weirdest thing that I've ever seen in out of all the places that I've worked. The weirdest that you asked about was, and I think we talked about this a little bit. There was it was my first job in the restaurant industry. This place called the Emmett House in Waverly, Ohio. Unfortunately, it no longer exists, but it was built 1861, 1862, and I'm dating myself a little bit, but this was about 2002 whenever I started working there. And there was a lot of paranormal activity supposedly taking place there. They really played it up too because people enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was featured on a couple shows and had some books and stuff. And there was a ton of stories and a ton of different things that happened there. But the weirdest one, the creepiest one out of all of them was we were closed on Sundays, and nobody was ever really in there. The owners maybe for payroll early in the day. But this was the wee hours of the morning, like 1 a.m, maybe into Monday morning, and I was close by at a local gas station, and I saw a bunch of cop cars and everything coming over to the Emmett House, and kind of went like, well, I'm gonna go check what's going on. This is kind of scary. So I go over there and met a couple of the people that a couple of the owners, a couple other employees that live close by, and everybody kind of came over. Apparently there was a break-in. So we all go in, we're checking it out, and there's no really signs of anything going on, but something tripped the alarm. We couldn't figure out what it was. So there's probably about 5 different stories, counting everything on the Emmett house. The second floor was where the offices were, security cameras and so on and so forth. So a couple of us go up, and we're watching the cameras. We rewind the camera a little bit, and we're kind of checking out to see what could have happened. And the cops are down there still looking at everything. And we see a little girl, all dressed in white, running from, I have goosebumps right now just thinking about it, running from the bar side into, the seating in the next room over.
No shit.
Yeah.
And it's on camera.
It was on tape. And
did the cops catch her? I'm just kidding.
yeah, right. And I mean, the doors were still locked. Is the crazy thing. Like nobody got in, nobody got out.
Wow.
It was on. It was faint. It wasn't like a plain as day, like it was a person, but you could tell what it was, and it was a little girl. And
Wow.
creepy.
That is creepy.
That was, and we go back to live, and the cops are still down there milling around. It's with the employees, and there's nothing. There's nothing.
Wow.
That was weird.
So listeners, don't let the ghosts of Ophelia or the DJ or whatever concern you if you ever go to the Great Southern. It's a beautiful, beautiful historic hotel, and I've never had anything happen there, but I think it would be cool to see Ophelia because I've heard that some guests see her walking the halls in
I've
her
heard that
wedding
too.
dress. And so, yeah.
It makes me wonder, have I ever served a ghost and not known about it?
If I were a ghost, I would be. That's where I would
There's
be.
a thought, right?
Yeah,
It's fun. I mean, we have fun with it, and it's something to talk about.
it is. It lends itself to the history and the fun of going to the Great Southern for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fun, creepy. All right, so I think we're at the point in the program where. Jesse, you are going to make us a cocktail. What are you going to make for us tonight?
So I've been tinkering with something that I had on a menu at one of the old places that I worked, and I've incorporated some of the local products from some of the distilleries here in town. So I was very pleasantly surprised when I came here of the quality of the stuff that they're putting out because I'd never had anything from Middle West or Watershed or any of those guys. So it's kind of my riff on a perfect Manhattan, but using some of the local products that we have here in town.
Awesome. Wonderful. Okay, well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to taste Jesse's Perfect Manhattan. And we are back with Jesse's riff on a Perfect Manhattan. So tell us how you made this, Jesse.
Okay, so I wanted to incorporate as many of the local products that I enjoy as possible. So I did the Middle West Spirits Rye, which I absolutely love, mixed with some Watershed Nocino and a little bit of Middle West bourbon barrel-aged maple syrup, which is fantastic.
That's so good.
Oh, it's so good. I love that stuff. So balance that with some dry vermouth, couple dashes of Woodford's spiced cherry bitters, and I made some maple glazed walnuts for the garnish.
Yum.
I really enjoy sweet. I tend to veer sweet when I do cocktails, sometimes too much so I have to have people rein me back in because I love it so much. But I think this is perfect for the cold days we've been having out there right now.
Awesome.
Well,
Cheers.
Cheers to you guys. Salute.
I always make Hansberry clink my glass and look me directly in the eye.
That's really nice.
I'm glad you like it.
The maple syrup is nice. I can taste it, but it's not overwhelming.
That maple syrup is like, it fell from heaven. Like, it's so good. And it's 100% Ohio maple syrup that they age in their bourbon barrels for 1 year.
And it's really fun to work with. I had my
stuff.
wife help me as I was tweaking this because I have probably the biggest sweet tooth that she knows of. And I was like, rein me back in. Is it too sweet? She said, no, it's good. Because she does not have that big of a sweet tooth.
I'm totally eating this walnut.
Oh, yeah,
right
you
now
should.
Because
yeah.
I love candied nuts.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that was good.
Oh,
Really,
yeah.
really good.
Oh, yeah.
And I love
Thank
the
you, guys.
Nocino, the Watershed Nocino. Mm-hmm. We got my dad a bottle of this for Christmas. It's just amazing. and
Yeah.
it's made right here in Columbus.
It's the first
really cool.
Nocino that I've had American made that I really do like.
Yeah, same. And I wanted to swap up, some of the stuff that I used. And it's kind of evolved, so this is probably going to be something that we put on the menu as we try to change it up a little bit.
I feel like you could drink this hot too. Could you not heat this up for a wassail? And
I'm sure it'd be great that way too.
I feel like it would be.
Yeah.
That would cure what ails you, right?
It sure will.
It's delicious.
Probably doesn't matter what temperature it is for that.
That's true. Really good cocktail.
Thank you.
Is this on the menu currently, or will it be in the future?
It will be in the future.
And do you have a name for it yet?
Yeah, I call it Noon as Dark as Midnight. It's a little bit darker than some of the other Manhattans that we've done there. And I think that suits it. So that's kind of the plan is, right now we have some holdovers from a past cocktail menu. We have some original creations on there that we've added to it. But it's always the balance of being at a hotel is something that I'm kind of still adjusting to. I try not to get too over the top with their cocktails, even though I would like to at times, because we have so many people coming in that, from all walks of life for different reasons. So we try to keep it, craft, fresh ingredients, really well done, but also approachable. But I hope that we can kind of elevate it a little bit more in the future.
If you had a person come in and say, I like bourbon, I like a sweet, mix me up something, would this be your go-to, or what would you?
Probably right now because I'm excited about it. Mm-hmm. But there's something that I have on there called the Badlands that I came up with, and I think it's very approachable. But
I think you've made that for us.
I believe I have. Yeah. And it's kind of a crossover between an old-fashioned Manhattan. It's not reinventing the wheel. It's nothing crazy, but it takes elements of both of those that I enjoy. A little bit of the sweet, a little bit of the spice, but it's unique in and of itself. And I think that kind of scratches that itch for somebody. If, they come in and it's like, what do you guys have that's a little bit, different or whatever? But this is what I like. I'm like, okay, well, there you go. That's an easy suggestion. Mm-hmm. But sometimes somebody comes in and they want something off the menu, and we can kind of play with it and have fun. We've got a great crew there behind the bar, so everybody's very, very skilled.
Yeah, that's always good.
Yeah, it's great working
So
with
what's
them all.
your favorite part about being a bartender?
Wow, so many things. I love the interaction with people. Mm-hmm. I think you have to like people.
Yeah.
And I really like just talking to people. And, I love cocktails. I love craft beer. I enjoy, really not just learning about the city, but I'm starting to get to a point where people come in from out of town. I can make some recommendations, which is kind of fun. But there's so many things. I really feel like...
Do you recommend that they take the Columbus Craft Cocktail Tour?
Every time. That's right. Directed to you guys online. So this is when the next event is. No, we love having you guys there for that. That's a lot of fun. So we definitely mention that to people. But that's really what it is. It's just, the creative aspect of being able to come up with, it's hard to come up with anything that's truly original anymore, but you just have to riff on something and, try to come up with something and make it your own, and just play around with it and tinker. And it's that and the recipe sessions with the rest of the staff, and it's all great. It's kind of my second career and that I stumbled into, and I really feel like this is what I was meant to be doing all along. I absolutely love it.
If you have somebody in the bar that is obviously intoxicated, so with most bars they wouldn't be able to serve them, mm-hmm. but you're in a hotel bar.
Yeah.
So do you say, are you staying here? And if they say yes, do you just keep serving them? And if they say no, you just say you're cut off, or how do you?
No, that's a great question, and it is very interesting and very unique how it's different being in a hotel bar. We are a little bit, I guess more careful about how we handle that than anywhere else, because normally it's you have too much to drink,
get the fuck out.
Essentially, yeah. Can't do that here because a lot of these people spend a lot of money to be there.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of handle it with kid gloves a little bit more. But that being said, if somebody's intoxicated to the point where they're just noticeably so, then we still have to cut them off. We just have to really, really handle it delicately.
They won't remember tomorrow anyway.
Hopefully not. I mean, there has been some situations where, some people who are guests there have been not just too drunk, but they've been, a nuisance to other guests.
Yeah,
And
that's when it's a problem, right?
it's a problem because you're not the only person staying here. They're have just as much as right to enjoy themselves here as you do. So please, be mindful of that. So you just got to really come to somebody as their friend and try to, and 99 out of 100 times somebody will be receptive to that.
And the bulk of your guests are wedding guests, right? They're there for a wedding. So, and
Well,
that's
on
like
the
amateur
weekends,
hour
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
It's like St. Patrick's Day every freaking weekend.
Yeah, I tell you, it's something else, most definitely. So that's a little bit easier because they're going to be gone. I mean, I've had to, yell at guys like, "What are you doing? Don't stand on top of the bourbon barrels." Or like, put your shoes back on. What are you doing? It's amazing to me some of the stuff people think they can do.
What's the craziest shit somebody's done in your bar so far since you've been there?
Let's see here. There's nothing that really has been too out of this. Oh yeah, well, okay. There was this guy who was clearly intoxicated, and he was harmless enough, but he was kind of annoying. And there was a kid that came in who had just turned 21. He was there with his parents. I guess it was some other relatives or whatever. Small group of like 8 people. And the guy thought he was making a nice gesture, but he was like slurring. He showed up this way, mind you. We didn't serve him to the point he got this way. We gave him one drink, and he was okay. This guy's too far gone. So he was really pushy with trying to buy this kid some shots for his birthday. It's a nice thing to do, somebody you're 21 or whatever, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. So it got to the point where, his parents were kind of like nervous, but stepping in, that's okay. He just wanted to have a beer. And the guy would not stop. And he kept, pushing. Finally, he started calling his parents names, started insulting the rest of the people in his family. And it was really weird and aggressive. Because
it's going to win friends.
Yeah, it did not win friends. And, obviously I had to step in and, get the guy out of there. And I had to physically remove him, which is something that is also a delicate situation being where we are because we do have security. I'm no stranger to having to handle situations like that on my own, but we can't really do that ourselves here. But this was a situation where couldn't wait on anybody to show up. You had to get him out of there now.
Yeah.
So the bright side of that was he was a guest. Didn't have to make him pay for his tab. Got him out of the bar, and we could just charge it to his room later.
Oh, nice.
So you don't have to worry about eating the cost of that.
Do you charge extra? Like, is there extra line item for being a douchebag at your bar?
If only we could put a sign up that said that. It may be frowned upon, but oh goodness, if you're a douchebag, 20% will be added.
It should be in all caps on their bill that you slide under their door because you were a douchebag.
Or
and had to
line
be
item
physically
douchebaggery.
removed from our bar.
Well,
Here's $100
I'll put
bill.
a word in for that. Maybe we're going to make that happen. I'm sure that'll go over well.
No, it's a great bar. I love going there. And I would love for you guys to get more busy for you, but I kind of like that it's never too busy in there. Like there's just the right amount of people, and you can still hear everyone talk. And
yeah, that is nice. It's for myself. I enjoy going to a bar like that. Monday through Thursday we've got a lot of our business guests, and scatter amount of people throughout the evening. It's very pleasant. And then we get Friday, Saturday night for the weddings. We get 70, 80 people coming in all at once at like 11 or midnight. And it's just like any other typical bar. But for the most part, it is exactly the way you described it. And that, I think you reach a certain point in your life whenever that's the kind of bar you want to go to. You want to be able to talk to people
Right.
and have conversations and not have to pay, $20 for a whiskey and stand around and not even be able to find a seat.
Right.
So I get it.
So you have a little event called Women in Whiskey. What do you think about the host of that?
Yeah. She really knows her stuff. I think it's definitely something that I would go to myself if I, didn't work there already. But I get a benefit because I just get to sit there and enjoy and just listen myself.
Do you think it's fun?
I think it's a lot of fun. I mean, we really do love having you guys there for that kind of stuff. And honestly, I think that, we both, benefit from that sort of thing because we love having that relationship with you guys where you want to come and, and include us in part of that. And, gives you guys another spot to come to. And, really, as we continue to expand on our whiskey selection, I think that's something that, is good for everybody. But it helps us. Everything like that we can be involved in when you guys do the craft cocktail tour, whenever you do the whiskey tastings and stuff like that, it helps us a little bit more get the word out, because with the rebrand and things like that, there's not a lot of people that really know about us locally yet.
Yeah.
And it's a goal for me to be known locally and not just a place where people come because it's part of the hotel.
Right.
Right.
That's, I think, a big part of what I'm supposed to do there.
And that's one of the things that we've always tried to highlight as the tour is those lesser known bars that are still awesome and ought to be frequented, but people just don't know about yet.
So what was so amazing was you guys, when it was Thurber's Bar, you guys were one of the first on our tour when we created it. And I sat down with the general manager at the time and the head chef, and like they were so into pairing the small bites with the cocktails. Like they were just so attentive and they just wanted to make everything perfect, and they still do that. And you guys kind of go overboard with it. I mean, with so much food and so many great cocktails, it's just a wonderful experience. And then it's such an easy place for us to go because of the great food, the great cocktails, and then the great history.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
and it's different.
Yeah.
It adds something a little bit different to the tour that maybe other places, the history alone.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's been fun learning about the history too.
We love having you guys there. So it's really, we certainly look forward to just those events. And, the next tour is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that too.
So how do you feel about this cocktail, Blair?
Oh, I like it a lot. But again, me, Manhattans are definitely my top 5. So any riff on that is just a great experience for me.
Yeah. So I love, I also really, really love Middle West Spirits Rye. The dark pumpernickel rye is what it is.
Yeah,
truly.
It's fantastic.
I'm not usually a rye person. It's usually too spicy, but this is
but that's why you use. But that's why you use the rye in a drink like this, because it cuts some of the sweetness out.
Yeah. But I love the no chino paired with the rye. There's just that's like a really good pairing.
It's thank you so much. I'm really happy that you guys enjoy it.
Well, Jesse, thank you so much for coming out tonight in this frigid weather that we're having.
It's my pleasure. It's been a lot of fun chatting with you guys, having some drinks.
Yeah,
and
thank you so much for coming. We
pleasure.
Really appreciate it. And if people want to come to the Women in Whiskey tastings, we're doing it the second Tuesday of every month at the Great Southern Whiskey Bar. You can find tickets on our website at columbuscraftcocktailtour.com, where you can also find tickets to our cocktail tour and also tour dates. And we're also launching a new, I know I've mentioned this several times before, but we're doing Small Talk, which are stories from bartenders. So if you have a story that you'd like to share, drop us an email at info@columbuscraftcocktailtour.com, and we'll send you a phone number where you can call in your story and we'll share it with everyone. Also, like us on Facebook, Instagram, follow us on SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasts. We're on everything, right?
Pretty much.
What was the new thing we just got on? Spotify. Yes, thank you. We're on that now. So we're on everything. So subscribe to our podcast so that you get alerted whenever we have a new podcast drop. Thank you to our producer, Greg Hansberry. And thank you to the biographer who composed and performed our original music. And Blair, you want to take us out?
Sure. Always remember to drink responsibly, tip appropriately, and always be cocktail curious. Cheers. Everyone.
Cheers.